Now you may think I'm being a bit facetious in this title. Well, I am. I'm also being deeply serious. Many societal problems that the LGBT community face are caused by religious conservatives, in this country mostly Christian conservatives. To them, God made Adam and Eve, two sexes, and that's the way it's been ever since. But that's not the way it is, and they need to understand this and to realize that if they believe that God doesn't make mistakes, then this is the way it's meant to be. There is a condition called androgen insensitivity syndrome. Individuals with this syndrome can have an XY chromosomal configuration, yet be physically female. In the 4-6XX testicular disorder of sex development, you can have a person with an XX chromosomal configuration who is physically male. There are other chromosomal differences that are not obviously apparent, such as a male with Klinefelter syndrome, where he has an XXY chromosomal configuration. So here's an individual with two X chromosomes, just like a female would have, but also the male Y. And then there's mosaicism. People with mosaicism can have XX in some of their cells and XY in others, as well as other possible configurations. Some people as well, too, are born with indeterminate sex organs, including some of those I've mentioned previously. The website for the Intersex Society of North America says, if you ask experts at medical centers how often a child is born so noticeably atypical in terms of genitalia, a specialist in sex determination is called in. The number comes out to about 1 in 1,500 to 1 in 2,000 births. But a lot more people than that are born with subtler forms of sex anatomy variations, some of which won't show up until later in life. Now, if there are so many natural, chromosomal, and physical differences amongst people, it certainly can't be a stretch to realize that there are mental differences as well that are just as natural. Just as what chromosomes someone has should be irrelevant to how they define themselves, so too what sex organs someone has should be irrelevant to how they define themselves. Now, the International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems defines transsexualism as a desire to live and be accepted as a member of the opposite sex, usually accompanied by a sense of discomfort with or inappropriateness of one's anatomic sex, and a wish to have surgery and hormonal treatment to make one's body as congruent as possible with one's preferred sex. I think most of us simply look at it as being born into the wrong body, but it really should be up to transsexuals to define themselves. However transsexualism is defined, we know it's real, as evidenced by the fact that small children, too young to understand sex or sexuality, know what they are. Some little children who are physically male want to know when that silly penis is going to fall off, and some little children who are physically female want to know when they're going to grow one. As they grow, their gender identity doesn't change, no matter how much the adults around them try to change them. In some Native American traditions, gays and transsexuals are looked at as two-spirited people and are honored because they carry two spirits, those of male and female. I think that this is especially true of transsexuals. There tends to be a disconnect between male and female in our society. Sometimes it seems as if we don't speak the same language. Two-spirited people can help us bridge that gap, as they did in some Native American communities. So there isn't just Adam and Eve and their heterosexual, completely male and completely female descendants. There are cis-heterosexuals, cis-homosexuals, cis-bisexuals, cis-pansexuals, and cis-asexuals. There are also trans-heterosexuals, trans-homosexuals, trans-bisexuals, trans-pansexuals, and trans-asexuals. And there are people who don't fit easily in any of these groups. Most of us don't fit completely into any group. All are perfectly normal variants of humanity. All are us. All balance us. All make us whole. Thanks for listening. And please see the links below for more information, including about two-spirited people.